You're listening to the Blind Tiger Record Club podcast, where we champion music of all genres, and we believe vinyl is king.
Vinyl is king.
Well, welcome back to the Blind Tiger Record Club podcast. I'm David Williams, and I'm here once again with Mr. Kevin Lee.
Hello, everybody.
Hopefully you caught last week's show when we discussed our singer-songwriter record of the month, which for March, which was Shovels and Ropes, new release, Manticore, on Dual Tone Records. If you did catch last week's show, then you know that we have changed things up a bit for Season 5. The biggest change is really our show's format. This season, most of our episodes are really only going to be discussing one album, which is what we're going to do again today. We'll be doing, new shows a lot more often, so you're really going to get the same amount of album coverage, that we've done in the past. We're just going to be doing them in smaller blocks, so hopefully the new format will be more digestible for all of you out there and easy to fit into your busy schedules every week. Right. I think it's going to be easier for us too, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find an hour to set aside to do anything, right? So, hopefully it'll move things along quickly. But we're still going to bring you some great music that's part of the record club here, and that you can enjoy and had to deliver it right to your door.
Yeah, everything's really still there. We're just dicing it up a bit.
There you go.
That's it. I mean, we're still going to have our LP interviews, where we bring in guests and we talk about their careers and whatever the current project is, and really kind of go as deep as they want to go on that stuff. We're going to still have shows where we do talk about like our Spotlight album. We're actually going to start talking this year about our metal program. We actually have a program called the Headbangers where we talk about metal records. And we've never really done that on the podcast before, primarily I think because, we were also recording a radio show on Lightning 100, and I just couldn't see talking about a metal record.
Not really a metal station, but I'm really excited about that part of the show coming up, and as well as some of the guests that we'll have dropping by the studio is going to be great this year too. So should be a great 2022. We really appreciate everybody for taking a listen.
We recently welcomed a brand new sponsor for the show. 85 Supply is the official sponsor for both the podcast and on air. 85 Supply is a full-service, nationwide merch company. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, logistics, graphic design, and custom-branded promotional products. From printed t-shirts to the most custom products available, 85 Supply offers over 500,000 products to customize. 85 Supply is trusted by some of the largest brands in the nation, from organizations like MTV, LaCroix Sparkling Water, Spotify, and more, including the Blind Tiger Record Club. All the club's merch is designed, printed, and manufactured by 85 Supply. They make the process so easy. I give them my ideas, and they work with me to bring the vision to life, and then we get them made. Whether you're a touring rock band, or an artist, an event, an organization, or a podcast and radio show like us, we highly recommend reaching out to our friends at 85 Supply for your next project that needs branded product. Go to 85supply.com or email info@85supply.com to get started. You can also get 5% off your first order. Simply mention Blind Tiger Record Club via email or over the phone with your rep. It's that simple. No coupon codes or anything to remember. Just tell them that Blind Tiger Record Club sent you and you get 5% off your first order. Once again, visit 85supply.com or email info@85supply.com to get your next merch project started. So Blind Tiger Record Club is a vinyl subscription club and retail store. You join the club by picking one of four styles. We have singer-songwriter, rock and alternative, jazz, soul, and blues, and classics. Once you join, you'll receive records in your selected style, or you can log in to your account and you can pick any of the other three. So you really always have four options every month between new and classics to choose between. Most are limited edition or special variants. And the club membership really is the best way to secure a lot of these records because just so many of them are hard to find, almost like the day that they release.
They're instantly gone. Yeah. So this is a great way for you to know that you're going to get it and it's going to be delivered right to your door. And you still have the option, obviously, of shopping at all the other great titles that are available in the store.
Yep, that's right. We have thousands of titles available in the record store. You don't have to be a member to shop there. We also have turntables, speakers, headphones, all kinds of killer BTRC merch, ranging from T-shirts, slip mats to vinyl messenger bags that carry vinyl, even hats, just all kinds of really cool stuff. We even have a shirt for this show now. So, just go to blindtagreclub.com and you can see our membership details. There's style descriptions, easy to read instructions for how the club works, and you can check out all the amazing collection of vinyl and other items that we have in the store. So tonight, we're going to be discussing the March Rock and Alternative Record of the Month. So let's drop the needle and take a quick listen to the brand new release, Things Are Great, by Band of Horses.
Small talk with a registered nurse, not to cry in front of people at work. Well, that's hard, hard, hard. At times, get reminded of the earlier days, the end of April '78. That was a long, 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 long time ago. And you showed a lot of warning signs. You made your life situation mine. Now your problem is mine. You don't want help. You don't need me. You don't look well. You don't want anything. You don't want anything.
So on March 4th, Band of Horses released Things Are Great on BMG. This is the band's sixth studio release. We had them in the club in March of 2019 when they released their live album, Acoustic at the Ryman, on vinyl. It was the first time it had been on vinyl, and it's a really great record. But that makes this their second appearance in our club. But this is the first studio album that we've had in the club.
Right.
I fully expect this to be one of the band's biggest chart performers. The Billboard 200 numbers, none of those charts have posted yet, as we're doing the show, but I anticipate it to be a strong performer here. This album has actually been hailed as a return to the band's early sound. Pitchfork said of this album, Band of Horses' sixth album unexpectedly delivers on all qualities that defined their initial success: soaring emotions, crunchy guitars, and Ben Bridwell's Cotton Candy Wine.
It's interesting to watch the curve, or the arc, I should say, of an artist in their career, and where they will begin in one place, it works. Then you get a bunch of people coming to the table. They'll want to put their, but hey, let's get in, major label deal, get this guy to produce,
we'll make it better,
bigger, slicker, better, and then either that works or doesn't work and moves on, and you get to see a band getting back to the roots, the things that made them special initially. And I think this is a return for this band, back to that sound.
Well, I think it's, the struggle with that is always finding that balance between what is it that made you special and unique, but getting it to the next level sonically and adding things that do make it better. But if you're not careful, sometimes you can flush out enough of that original sound where you actually create a new thing.
Right. It's usually the object of commerce, the people that are selling music to cast a wider net, and so they will water it down, for lack of a better term, sometimes. And I just think this is a good return to what made this band special in the beginning.
That cotton candy reference in that Pitchfork quote was really talking about Bridwell's vocals, but I just think, there's a lot of moments that border on power pop on this album to me. And some of that's even like Ryan Monroe's another one that does background vocals. Just the way that they're anthemic songs, but they have those really kind of higher vocal moments, but they still drive. It just reminds me of bands like Big Star at moments. I mean, it's like a real weird mixture of bringing some of that power pop element into a more rootsy style music that you don't usually see those two things mix.
Right. It's definitely, this record is, for me, is captured their indie vibe, but it's still slick to a certain extent. But again, it's organic. Reminds me of some other '90s bands like Super Drag and some stuff like that, as far as the way they approach more of a disjointed vocal. It's not your standard verse, chorus, hook type of thing. Lyrics aren't the obvious rhymes and that kind of stuff, but they paint a much more interesting picture. So let's dive in. Listen to some.
Yeah,
more.
well, the first single off the album is a song called Crutch. It went number one at AAA radio. It spent 2 weeks at the top spot, and it was the band's first number one at the format. This is Crutch.
That was Crutch, a great song off this record. I really like the lyric content. I love it when bands will say something that we've heard 1,000 times before, but it's said differently. And it makes you go, oh, that's an interesting take, or that's an interesting way of saying this, but I got a crutch on you. And then even some more modern life turmoil, stressful references like standing in line at TSA and that kind of stuff that we've all been through. And can relate to. So well written, as you kind of described, kind of a indie power pop song, and was very successful.
Yep. This album's co-produced by Bridewell and Granddaddy band member and producer Jason Little, who also produced Band of Horses' 2016 release, Why Are You OK? Which, also I talked to you about earlier, was executive produced by Rick Rubin.
Right.
The band started out indie rock, as we've mentioned, and, I think that was polished up a lot during their time at Interscope and just directionally kind of changed the sound of the band a lot. And this intentional return on this album to at least some of that original sound from when the band, kind of broke when they were on Sub Pop, I think is a really good thing for them. I really like this band. I think that they have a really unique voice in the space that they occupy. I really have always considered them indie rock, even during that time period at Interscope that some people feel like that their sound has kind of wandered a bit from their roots, but it still felt like it was in that space to me. But there is something refreshing about this new album, and I think I didn't really realize till I started digging in on it, that it really was kind of the tide of their early sound that's really, it's more mature for sure, but it's definitely there.
Speaking from experience and having artists go from indie over to, as a matter of fact, Interscope and other major labels, it is really tough to keep the magic when everything else comes involved. With A&R staff, radio promotion people, everybody's telling you this is what you need to do to make it better. and to make it bigger. And a lot of times you lose what made you attractive in the first place. I don't know that didn't happen with this band and this record as well. But this record that we're talking about now, I think, is a return to those things that made this band attractive to their fan base. And it's just simple, and it's much freer sounding to me. And I think bands kind of thrive in that atmosphere.
Well, and I think they started that journey back to this album with Why Are You Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Little was involved in that one as well. But if he was on the show, I would ask him, hey, because you know that Rick Rubin wasn't sitting in there with him every day. It was mostly Little and the band.
Guaranteed.
And so the thing I'm curious about is, like, did Rick Rubin point out some of this stuff, and because it definitely started on that record, and now kind of like what you're saying, where now that they're kind of free of even some of those watching eyes, this album does feel even more like free and let go,
right?
And it almost feels like it's more true to them.
Yeah, and and again, speaking from experience with having somebody under Rick. When he's executive producing, so he's not in there during the making of the record, right? He's getting stuff sent to him, and everybody's got to wait to see, is this good? Are we moving? Are we keeping? And it's such a different process than going in and saying, what do we want to do as the band? Finding the guy that is on the exact same page as you, that can bring something to the table as the producer, and go in and make something really special, capture lightning in the bottle, versus let's track this guy has something to say about it. Now we got to send it to Rick or whoever else may be involved, see what they say about it. Can we, like I said, can we move on? Do we need something else here? And it's just a different, when you're in the mix, when you're in with the artist and at the studio and during that whole creative process, it's really easy to stifle it when you have so many people involved in stuff like that. So for me, I think you're right. I think we saw that starting to open up and come back a little bit prior. And I think this is, for me, I can definitely hear the difference.
Yeah, for sure. Well, another early retail single is a song called In Need of Repair.
Well, hey, what's the matter? You can't do all the things that we used to do, and it sucks, and it's bad. And who's a good boy? What's a killjoy? Got some money, now we're fighting over new toys. Isn't it sad? Sitting in my usual chair, feeling the walls around me closing. I'm in a state of disrepair, and try to make it till the morning. It's not enough, it's not enough. Every single day I hide from her.
You kind of hinted at the lyrics and the strength of the lyrics a little bit earlier when we were talking, but one of the things is that the lyrical content of this album is very somber. Melodically, though, it's not at all. Like, that song had somber moments in it, but most of this record does not align, really with the tone of a lot of the lyrics. The track we played at the beginning of the show was called Warning Signs. And it's the opening track for an album called Things Are Great. So, I mean, I think, that the irony is really intentional here, and he's just a really strong lyricist. The kind of the sonic landscape that Bridwell and his Band of Horses creates really never does kind of match up with, like, the lyrical tone.
Right.
And it's not a disjaunting thing. It's actually really cool because it's not like whiny, depressing, music, even though the lyrics sometimes are taking on some serious things but I do think he's super creative too, even about the way that he structures his lines.
Yeah, I agree that it's not obvious cookie cutter structure or lyrical placement. Even it's just good. To me, it feels like the lyric wasn't an afterthought. It's the music is kind of backing up the story that he's telling,
Right.
and it's cool. I just think that it's an important part of music like this for people to be attached to it and want more, is to be attached to the lyric and to feel that that lyric actually touches them, because it's not like some big, across the board pop radio hit where it's about the beat, right? Or or something like that. It's really like, it's not like they're not reinventing the wheel.
Right.
But there's something special, and one of the things that's special is I think is the lyric talks to a lot of people that are in relationships and going through that stuff that we've all been through, and they go, I've been there. I can relate to that.
Warning Signs, that song has just been released to AAA radio. It's just now going for ads. So we'll see if it can follow up the number one crutch. One of the strongest songs on the album to me is a song called Lights. It actually resembles a song off the band's debut that was called Weed Party. But I really think this song kind of epitomizes a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about with that whole return to their original sound. Not because it's very similar to that song, but just because the elements of it. I mean, it's got those crunchy guitars. In this one, it's got the chorus melody is like really, really strong on this song. So I think this is a great example. Just of if you're a fan of Band of Horses from the Sub Pop years, like this is a great kind of example of like where this album's picking up. This is Lights.
I think this is maybe my favorite track on this record.
Right.
It's a little more conventional, but it's a well written, feel good track. It moves. It's still got that kind of Cure, almost even a little bit of Joe Jackson feeling to it.
Yeah.
But it's just a really strong song.
It's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of songwriting, and sometimes it's tough to make a pop song which sounds easy. That can be the toughest thing to write, is something that sounds simple. And this is just a pleasure to listen to.
Yeah. Well, the band hails from my home state of South Carolina, so I think I probably have a little natural bias in their favor, but I really do think this is the band's best album in years. And I actually like a lot of their previous albums, so it's not like
which hail from my home state.
Oh yeah, the Sub Pop originally
yeah,
Seattle. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So there was one song that I really wanted to play off of this because I think it really showcases a band's ability to do that softer, kind of slower song in a beautiful way. It's a song titled Aftermath. So I'm going to let that play out at the end of the show, as we kind of sign off here. But yeah, I really do think it showcases like another side of the band that they do really well. Look, if you want to get this album as your March club selection, pick Rock and Alternative. We have it for our members in a limited edition rust vinyl. We also have a standard black for non-members. Well, that wraps up our show for tonight. We hope you enjoyed our discussion of Band of Horses and the album Things Are Great, and hopefully you were inspired to hear more. If this is an album that you're interested in finding out more about, head to blindtigerrecordclub.com. It's the BTRC Rock and Alternative Record of the Month for March. We have some other great titles in March as well. We have Shovel and Ropes, Manticore as our singer-songwriter record of the month. And if you want to find out about that album, just listen to the last show. Kevin and I do a discussion on that album, aired last week. We also have St. Paul and Broken Bones, The Alien Coast. That's their new album, and that's in our jazz, soul, and blues style. Our classic album for this month is Cinderella Night Songs, an album that I know Kevin is very familiar with.
What are you saying, Dave?
I'm just saying. So head to the website and choose one of those albums and start your club membership, and you'll get incredible albums like that delivered right to your door every month. We also have new pricing that we launched at the end of last year. So it really is, they're the lowest that we've offered in a long time. So, I mean, it's a perfect opportunity to join and do it cost efficiently.
That's right. And just for Dave and myself, we know that there's a ton of podcasts out there, and there's a lot of things that beckon your time. And we just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to listen to the Blind Tiger Record Club podcast. And we hope that we can see you again here soon. And we'd love to have you join the club. Everything that you need to know is available online.
I cannot encourage you enough to check out our sponsor, 85 Supply. They can help you with everything from printed t-shirts to custom products. You can also get all your merchandise service needs met with one company from design to print. Listener to this show, get 5% off your first order. All you need to do is mention Blind Tiger Record Club. It's just that easy. You can do it by email or over the phone with your rep. The whole process is really simple, so go to 85supply.com or email info@85supply.com for more information. Don't forget, we have 4 seasons, full seasons now, of Blind Tiger Record Club podcast. It's available on all major podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, many others. You can also go to blindtigerrecordclub.com and click on the podcast link to stream directly from our website. You can listen to a recast of shows that aired on Lightning 100, as well as our artist interviews and our annual end-of-year shows. The podcast is a great way to discover new music. And our next show is going to air this Friday, March 16th. We'll be discussing St. Paul and the Broken Bones and their new album, The Alien Coast. So make sure you join us for that. It'll give you a great podcast to listen to for the weekend. Please follow the podcast, smash the like buttons, leave reviews and comments, tell your friends about the show. You can stay up to date on all that we're doing by signing up for our email list at the website. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Most importantly, keep coming back. You support this show just by listening. So until next time, keep the wax spinning.